It's funny how one moment can stick with a player, how a single play can define how fans view a career, even if it's just for a while. For Bears cornerback Tariq Stevenson, that moment was the infamous Hail Mary in Washington last year. That play wasn't just a lowlight on his personal reel. It became a viral stamp on a rookie season that had already shown promise. Now, fast forward to the present, and Stevenson is stepping right back into that same stadium, but this time with a completely different energy. He's not the same player, not the same person, and he's got redemption on his mind. After months of mostly staying quiet about that night, Stevenson finally opened up. Not just with the usual press conference cliches, but in real, raw conversations. First on a podcast with veteran safety Kevin Byard, and then in a sit-down with The Athletic. And man, you could tell he's been carrying that moment with him ever since. You hear it in his voice. You see it in his face. And now, we're seeing it in his game. Here's what he said that stood out. Just to see people try to define who I'm off one play, one game, out of the other 30 I've had, at the end of the day, I gotta take it. I wear it. That's not who I am, but that's who I showed I was. And actions speak louder than words. The only thing I can do from that point on is prove it. That's not just someone trying to clean up his image. That's someone who's looked in the mirror and realized how fast things can turn when you take your eye off the ball, literally and figuratively. And if you go back and watch that Hail Mary play again, it's all there. Stevenson's back is turned. He's talking to the crowd. And when the ball goes up, he sprints back into the frame and ends up tipping the ball instead of letting it fall incomplete or making a solid play. That ball gets caught in the end zone. Touchdown. Game lost. All because he abandoned his role as the backline of defense in a last-ditch play. But what's important is how he's responded since. That play could have wrecked a young player's confidence forever. And for a while, it looked like maybe it did. Tariq wasn't the same for weeks after that moment. He admitted it himself. He stopped playing to make plays and started playing not to mess up. He was thinking too much, second-guessing everything. You could see it in his body language. The swagger was gone. And that's not who Tariq Stevenson is. The thing with Stevenson has never been about talent. Anyone who watched him at Miami, or even early last season, knows the guy can flat-out ball. He's long, physical, athletic, and he plays with that edge that cornerbacks need to survive in the league. But there's a fine line between confidence and chaos. And during that game in Washington, he crossed that line. Not just with the play itself, but in the build-up. There were extracurriculars. He was chirping. He'd already had some personal fouls in previous games. And you started to wonder, is this guy letting emotion cloud his judgment? But then something changed. Over the past few weeks, we've started to see a more locked-in, mature Tariq Stevenson. He's not just out there reacting anymore. He's anticipating. He's trusting his instincts again. And it shows. With Jalen Johnson out, Stevenson's been thrown into that CB1 role, and he hasn't flinched. He had that diving interception against Geno Smith. He's been targeted 12 times and allowed only 3 completions. That's not just solid corner play. That's shut down corner numbers. And let's be real, just a few weeks before that, he got cooked. Detroit was brutal. Amon-Ra, St. Brown, and Jameson Williams were doing whatever they wanted. And people were starting to wonder again, is this just who he is? But great players don't let bad games define them. They bounce back. They respond. And that's exactly what Tariq has done. He went from getting roasted to locking guys down. That's mental toughness right there. It also helps that this coaching staff seems to know how to get the best out of him. Stevenson even said in his interview with The Athletic that after the Hail Mary, he started playing scared. I was walking on eggshells when I didn't need to be, he said. That's a tough mindset to shake, especially for a young player trying to earn respect in the league. But now he's playing with that edge again. Not reckless, not emotional, but smart. He's aggressive when he needs to be, but he's also staying disciplined. That's growth. And his defensive coordinator has noticed it too. After the Raiders game, Ben Johnson praised Stevenson's performance, calling it his best game yet. He wasn't just being nice. The tape backs it up. Stevenson was a blanket in coverage. No separation, multiple pass breakups, and a PFF coverage grade that was through the roof, close to 93, which is elite territory. That's the kind of game that turns heads around the league. But here's what makes this week so fascinating. Stevenson isn't just playing well. He's going back to the scene of the crime. the place where it all went off the rails. He's walking back into Washington not to erase what happened, because you can't, but to write a new chapter. And in his own words, he's ready. "I'm fixing to write the F out of this," he said. "I'm trying to write one of this year's bestsellers. And this might be the best chapter. The fact that I'm walking back in there with a smile on my face and ready to walk back out with a smile. That's not just a quote. That's a mission statement. That's a player who's been humbled, who's learned, who's grown, and who wants the world to know it. But let's be clear, this game won't be easy. Washington is solid. They've got weapons. And if Terry McLaurin plays, that's going to be a big-time test. But if I'm Dennis Allen, I'm handing Stevenson the keys. I'm telling him, go shadow number 17. Go own this matchup. Show us you're that guy. Because McLaurin isn't a burner. He's not the type of twitchy receiver that usually gives Stevenson problems. He's more of a possession guy, and that's a matchup Stevenson can handle. He's got the physical tools, he's got the confidence back, and he's got something to prove. That's what makes this story so compelling. It's not just about football. It's about redemption. It's about falling on your face in front of the world, owning it, and then showing up a year later ready to show everybody who you really are. Not with words, not with talk, but with plays, with discipline, with results. And if he goes out there this weekend and plays the way he has been, this whole conversation changes. That Hail Mary, it becomes a footnote instead of a headline. Yeah, the clip will still exist. Fans in Washington will never forget it. But Bears fans, they'll be able to let it go. Because what matters is what happens next. And right now, Tariq Stevenson looks like a guy who's ready to write his own ending. The weight of redemption doesn't just hang in the air before kickoff. It builds in the locker room, in the tunnel, in those silent moments before the lights come on. And for Tariq Stevenson, that weight is both a burden and a blessing. He knows exactly what's on the line, not in terms of standings or playoff implications, but something deeper: reputation, trust, the belief in his own ability to rise above the worst moment of his young NFL career. He's already taken steps. He's already silenced some of the noise. But now, he gets the rare chance to silence the source, to go back to the very field where it all fell apart and show just how far he's come. And let's not forget, there's pressure in that. No matter how locked in he's looked over the last few games, there's a different kind of tension when you're facing ghosts. It's not just another opponent across the line. It's the memory of a mistake, the echo of a moment that's been replayed and reshared over and over. Stevenson knows every angle of that clip. He admitted it himself. He's watched it. He uses it, not to punish himself, but to remind himself of what happens when you try to do too much and forget your role. That play was never supposed to be his to make. He was the safety net, the last line of defense. But in a flash, he let emotion and impulse take over. He tried to save the day when all he had to do was stay in position. That decision turned into disaster. And what makes the moment even more brutal is how it spiraled. That one mistake didn't just cost the Bears a win. It cracked something in Stevenson. After that game, you could see it. The confidence evaporated. The aggression that once defined him turned into hesitation. He wasn't jumping routes anymore. He wasn't jamming receivers at the line. He was second-guessing everything, walking on eggshells, just trying not to mess up. That's no way to play in the NFL, especially not at corner, where every inch matters and hesitation gets exposed. The Bears coaching staff saw it too. They had to decide whether to keep believing in the kid or start thinking about other options. And to their credit, they gave him time. They let him work through it. And now, they're starting to reap the rewards. Because Tariq Stevenson has battled his way back. Not just physically, but mentally. That's the real battle. Getting your body right is one thing. Getting your mind right? That takes something deeper. That takes humility, resilience, and a willingness to be honest about who you are and who you want to be. And right now, Tariq looks like a player who's figured that out. He's not out there trying to prove people wrong. He's trying to prove himself right. That's a big difference. He's not chasing approval. He's chasing execution. You can see it in his footwork, in his eyes, in the way he attacks routes now. There's no panic. There's no overreaction. He's reading plays, staying patient, trusting his technique. That's when you know a corner is back in rhythm. When the chaos doesn't shake them. When they stop chasing the big moment and start letting the big moment come to them. And that's been the key over these last few games. Stevenson isn't forcing anything. He's letting the game come to him. And when his opportunity shows up, he's taking it. That interception against Seattle wasn't just athletic. It was smart. He baited the quarterback. He played the route perfectly. And when the ball was in the air, there was no hesitation. That was the version of Tariq the Bears drafted. That's the player who showed up in college. That's the guy they believed could be a cornerstone in their secondary. And let's talk about the physical tools for a second, because those have never been the problem. He's got size, speed, and length. He's strong at the line of scrimmage. He knows how to reroute receivers and disrupt timing. But you can't unlock any of that without confidence. You can't play corner scared. You have to believe that every play is yours to win. And if you lose one, you shake it off and get back in the fight. That's what Stevenson was missing after Washington. He lost that next play mentality. But it's back now. The coaching staff sees it. The teammates feel it. Even the media's started to shift their tone. You go from being the guy everyone blamed for a collapse to the guy people are starting to trust in key moments. That doesn't happen by accident. That happens when you put in the work and when you stay mentally tough. Stevenson's been through the fire. He's taken the hits. And now he's standing tall again. And this game? This is more than just another chance to prove he's back. It's a moment to turn the page, to take control of the story. No one's saying a win in Washington erases what happened last year. That clip is going to live on. Fans will still talk about it. But this is about showing that one play doesn't define a player. That one mistake isn't the end of the journey. It's just a chapter. Stevenson gets to go out there, line up on that same field, and show he's learned. That he's better. That he belongs. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. A storm seems to be brewing in Chicago as whispers from inside Hallis Hall hint at a locker room meltdown involving the Bears' brightest stars. According to sources close to the team, tensions reached a boiling point this week when quarterback Caleb Williams and wide receiver D.J. more reportedly got into a heated confrontation in the locker room, leaving teammates stunned and staff scrambling to maintain order. The incident, described as intense and personal, allegedly escalated quickly during what was supposed to be a routine team meeting, with both players clashing over on-field dynamics and leadership disagreements. Insiders claim the fallout was swift. Both Williams and Moore have been temporarily removed from team activities while the coaching staff and front office conduct internal reviews. The Bears, already navigating a challenging season, now face the added headache of managing two of their most prominent athletes sidelined amid mounting tension. Sources say the atmosphere in the locker room has been tense and fragile, with players reportedly split on loyalties and unsure how to respond publicly to the drama. While neither the team nor the players have issued official statements, speculation is rampant across social media and sports circles. Some analysts suggest the confrontation could have long-term implications for team chemistry, particularly if underlying issues, ranging from play-calling frustrations to personality clashes, remain unresolved. Others argue this could be a temporary disruption, with both Williams and Moore returning after a brief cooling-off period. Rumors of locker room disputes aren't new in the NFL, but the pairing of two such high-profile figures in a publicized clash adds a layer of intrigue that has fans and commentators buzzing. The Bears front office is reportedly weighing multiple options, from mediation sessions to potential trade discussions, as the organization attempts to navigate one of its most unpredictable moments in recent memory. For now, all eyes remain on Chicago, where the drama unfolding behind closed doors could define the team's trajectory in ways no preseason prediction ever anticipated. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.